Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about, is cryptocurrency the next wealth transfer? Well, guys, let me just say this. It's one of the next wealth transfers, and we're going to talk a little bit about it today because maybe you haven't been paying attention, or maybe you're not really sure of what's going on during this pandemic, but there has been a significant transfer of wealth. All right, guys, listen, if you're new to this channel, feel free to stick around, like, subscribe, like to talk about money, like to talk about investing, like to talk about how you succeed, whether you have money or maybe you don't have a whole lot of money. All right, guys, so of course, everyone's talking about cryptos right now. And I had someone ask me the question about it being a wealth transfer, and I told them, yes, it absolutely is, but it's also not just the wealth transfer, but it's one of the wealth transfers that is happening currently. And so what I want to do is I want to talk about how the wealth can be transferred through cryptocurrency on a personal level for us individuals, as well as a business level of what I think we're going to see, in the near future and moving on forward. Now, here's the thing. When you hear the word wealth transfer, what do you think about? You think about transfer, right? It means that money moves from one place to the other, right? So understand that money doesn't disappear. Money doesn't just vanish. It just moves from one place to the other. Now, if you're in a place where it seems like there's a struggle with it, or there's no money at, then what you have to do is find out where the money is or where the money is going. Now, just like I alluded to in the beginning of this video, that wealth transfer and wealth transferring, it's happening currently right now if you don't realize it, right? It's currently happening. So for example, not only do we see it in the crypto space, but we see it happening around things like electric vehicles. We see it starting to kind of fester its way a little bit into the cannabis sector. We see it starting to fester, or we see it how it has just completely blown up with the online sales, online education, anything online, has completely just blossomed. I don't know if you guys watch TikTok or not, but if you do, you've probably seen where several people have had these different videos out just talking about how at the beginning of the pandemic, they didn't know what they're going to do. They lost their job, they started a business, and now they're doing pretty good. That is a real thing. And the reason why that can happen is because the space that they're operating in, which is online, has just completely just doubled or have tripled thanks to the pandemic, because people have had to rely on social media, rely on the online space. So within these spaces, as I use an example, you can see a significant amount of wealth transferring, all right? To take it a step further, like you hear our economists talking about as well, just about how we're in a K-shaped recovery, right? A K-shaped recovery where you have one group that is getting wealthy, then you have another group that is losing money. So it's almost like the separation between poverty and wealth. It's growing, and that's for some specific reasons, and maybe I can make a separate video just kind of diving more into that, more analytical and more systematic and how things work like that when you see something like this happening. But in a pandemic, understand that if it's a pandemic, a recession, there's always a significant amount of wealth being transferred during that time. Most people don't pay attention to it. Now let's talk about crypto at hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the screen just this chart, or just this list that shows you some of the market caps of cryptocurrency. Now in my last video I kind of showed about Dogecoin and how literally over one day it went from 11 billion market cap to 33 billion market cap. Now what you may not realize, in that market cap, someone is gaining a tremendous amount of money. Someone is making a lot of money during that time. Let's say, for example, if you had something like $20 and you had put it into Dogecoin like 2-3 years ago when it was less than a penny, then you're probably seeing somewhere around like $1,000, $1,500, or $2,000 in just return. Now that's crazy. Like I myself personally, my Dogecoin is up like around like at the making of this video, like around 8,000%, which is something just astronomical. And those returns are definitely not typical. They don't happen often. However, what we're seeing in this time with the way things have happened, especially with online, people have been paying more attention to the crypto space, as well as other things that we talked about. But this is more particularly about crypto. Then what you've seen is people rush to it. So literally on yesterday, the day before, all you've heard a lot of people who don't really know a lot about investing, who normally don't talk about investing or cryptocurrency much, everybody's posting about Dogecoin because it's so attractive and so easy to obtain because of its price, as well as the platform where most people are using Robinhood for it. Then people just putting like 10, 20, $100, $1,000 in it. And, it's like they want to play a game, right? They want to see if they can, become a crypto millionaire, which you see some people actually posting about, oh my goodness, I've actually crossed $1 million for the first time. I've crossed 6 figures for the first time in investing, thanks to just something as simple and something as unassuming as Dogecoin. So basically you're seeing ordinary people who, didn't come to the table with tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, being able to significantly grow their investment. Yes, of course, you have taxes to pay if you sell, but significantly you're seeing that these things are having huge run-ups and you're seeing people make a lot of money. But it's not just in Dogecoin, but it's also in just about almost any other crypto space you can imagine. For example, Ripple, you can't really even trade Ripple on most platforms right now because of the issues and things that were going on with the SEC. However, since then, Ripple has went up to as high as like almost $2, per coin, per Ripple, even though you can't really necessarily buy it. So if you're someone like myself who had some Ripple from years ago and even bought up some Ripple like up into the point where you couldn't buy it, you've seen like your money literally like triple that you had in Ripple, and you can't really do too much with it. But literally every single coin is having quite a bit much success. If you go and look at how it's been like a year ago, you'll see that just about everything's been up. For example, Bitcoin was around $5,000 to $7,000. It's hovering around $60,000 plus or minus now. So if you had just taken something as simple and put $5,000 into Bitcoin like about 13 months ago, your $5,000 would now be worth more than $60,000, just like that. So needless to say that yes, there is a wealth transfer happening with crypto on a personal level, but also at a business level. Now, on the business level, something that you guys may not think about, but let's just use this for example. Let's say if Bitcoin was $500, right? Just one Bitcoin was $500, right? I wish, right? But if it was just one Bitcoin and it was $500. And now let's say you have company X, and company X has a product that costs one Bitcoin, or you could pay, $500 for it or whatever the price is USD. But they say, hey, we're going to allow people to buy this product, with Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. So the product tag, so let's say if you want to buy it and they give you the option, you can pay cash or you can pay one Bitcoin. And you decide to say, you know what, I'm going to spend one of my Bitcoins to get this particular product. So you spend that one Bitcoin, which is equivalent to $500 at the time. Now that company now has that one Bitcoin in their possession. Now 6 months later, that one Bitcoin value goes up to $5,000. So now you've just given away your Bitcoin to a company to pay for something, right? Now for them, it becomes more valuable because literally they've just made like $4,500 off of that one purchase. So it really paid them well to, offer cryptocurrency. That's why you're seeing a lot of companies really trying to get into offering cryptos and things like that, because the value of it changes versus if you paid $500 for that particular product, your $500, 6 months, 6 years from now would still be $500 versus Bitcoin, which has just grown so much and just as well as any other cryptocurrency. So you'll see companies starting to accept these cryptocurrencies, and you'll see people starting to pay and buy things with it, and they're giving that asset over to another company, and those companies' assets will grow astronomical just because they're receiving, and they're more than likely not going to really spend it, but they're going to hold those cryptocurrencies and let that value run all the way up as much as they could. So of course, at that point, you would probably say, I wish I had just paid cash for it and not given away a Bitcoin. That's something to think about as you're starting to make purchases with cryptocurrency. Now, the other way that companies are making money within Bitcoin is similar to an individual, except they come to the table with more assets, and they're literally putting a lot of money into, different cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin in particular is where a lot of people have focused on. You've heard some people like Slim Jim talking about Dogecoin and other currencies and stuff like that. But them putting a lot of money into it and having something like a slight run up, like say for example, like Dogecoin, for example, or Bitcoin, you're seeing companies report and saying that, hey, this is giving us a great return on our cash. And the only thing we're going to see is more and more companies start to do the same thing. Like I said, no matter how you feel about cryptocurrency, take your emotions out of it and look at how you can generate wealth for you and your family. We're not going to be emotional about it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to build wealth for our families. So you just have to find out and get in where you fit in, do your research so that you can do the same thing. And so that you could have some of these huge run-ups and things like that. Now, if you don't believe me, you can go and check the proof of different people having this type of success. For example, just in the last few days, you can go on Reddit, type in Dogecoin, for example, and go look at the Dogecoin thread like I showed in my video from yesterday or earlier this morning. And what you'll see is where people are showing their portfolios and how much they've literally made just from that. And you have the same testimonies kind of coming through with GameStop. So is cryptocurrency a wealth transfer? The answer is absolutely yes. And it is for those who play it smart, those who do the research, who take the time to get to learn, those who are not afraid to put some type of money in. Of course, a good rule of thumb, invest what you're not afraid to lose. However, you gotta put some skin in, you gotta get some skin in the game in order to be in the game, right? So you can figure out your own budget and things around that, but more importantly, do your own research, because anybody that's been in crypto for years, they can tell you that their portfolios have been significantly up. And so the answer is yes. Will it be the biggest wealth transfer we've ever seen? Not sure. Can't really, state if it will be or if it won't be yet, because, through time, you never know what happens. And we don't know what type of regulations may come in place. They may kind of slow up things, or it may speed up things. You never know. However, but one thing we can say is that yes, amongst other things that are happening right now, that yes, cryptocurrency definitely is a wealth transfer. And like I've been saying on my videos, anytime I make a crypto video, I don't do a lot, but when I do talk about them, I always encourage people to take the time. Don't be naive. Don't get all, extra with it. Don't be all emotional, and just learn about it. Start learning about it, if anything. And then, take the time to be able to, probably try to find a place where you can invest. To which, yes, there is a link in the description below for Coinbase. That is not the only platform, but that is a good platform, the number one platform in the US in particular at this point. But you want to start doing the research around things like that so that you can also start to learn about this too. You never know. You could be one of those people that decide to make an investment and then it does well for you just because you took the time to learn and took the time to understand what you were doing. But all right, guys, just please understand that wealth transfers in different arenas have already started to happen. And just make sure that you can find something where you can position you and your family so that way that you can also get a piece of the pie as well. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Y'all have a good one. Be safe. Peace. Happy investing. Love y'all.